Well, greetings, my friends. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy, and thriving, doing whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it. I have to do an immediate apology here. I've got a little bit of a lighting issue. One of my ring lights has gone out, and I usually use two ring lights to light the show, and I got one. So we'll see how it works here. I'm not sure if I need to turn it up a little bit. We'll try that. There you go. Maybe that's a little better. Not exactly not exactly set up like NBC here, it's pretty casual. Anyway, this is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig. You are watching Vibrant Living. And again, I hope this day finds you happy, safe, healthy, and just thriving at whatever it is you're doing, wherever you're doing it, just enjoying your life. That's part of what we're going to talk about today. But first, before we talk about anything, let's go to our friend, Dr. Holmes, in this thing called You. And I think there we go. Okay, it's a very short one today. All the good there is mine. With equal certainty, it will produce a larger good. If you believe that wherever you go, you will meet with love and friendship, with appreciation and gratitude, then this will become the law of your life. All the good there is mine. With equal certainty, it will produce a larger good. If you believe that wherever you go, you will meet with love and friendship, with appreciation and gratitude, then this will become the law of your life. Excuse me. I got it. Again, another apology here. The pollen count here in lovely Knoxville, North Carolina seems to be pretty high, and it's not affecting my sneezing and sniffling and runny nose and so much as it is a little bit of hoarseness in my throat, a little bit of coughing. So going to be a lot of water today. I posted a description of the show today of just something unique that came onto my radar. I think I actually heard it from someone who is, I got to get some of this guy's book, someone who I've come to really appreciate his perspective and how he looks at the world and his discernment of what's going on in the world. His name is Scott Galloway. And he's his I guess the first thing that he said that really caught my eye was that we are raising the most dangerous group of people that have ever been raised in the history of the country. And he was referring to young men between the ages of like 15 and 25 who are unemployed, who are addicted to the internet, who are addicted to video games, who have absolutely zero social skills, aren't dating, might be considered those incel kind of people. Okay, incels is that's called incels is oh my God. It's about being, it's involuntarily celibate. That's what it is. It's incel. And Scott Galloway refers to these guys as the most dangerous people in the world because they have nothing going for them. They're easily influenced to the negative. They're easily recruited. They're easily, what's the word they use when you're generating new terrorists? They're easily radicalized. And I love the way he expresses all of that. Let's try a little bit brighter here on this light and see if that helps a little bit. And he was discussing the idea of, we've all heard this, and we've heard it multiple times in our lives. It has become it's almost a cliche that do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, Scott Galloway's point maybe was do what you love, and perhaps you'll never earn a nickel in your life either. And I think you can look at starving artists, starving musicians, people who pursue their talents, who pursue the things that they love, the things they consider to be their purpose, but never quite get the notoriety, the attention, or the traction, or the gravitas that they need in order to monetize that and to make a living. So his point was, find something that you're really good at. Find something that you're really good at, and then pursue that. And if you're really good at it and you pursue it, doesn't have to be something you love. Okay, a lot of us are really good at things that maybe we aren't particularly considering our purpose or something we really love. But if you absolutely do something that you're really, really good at, your chances of being successful at it are much higher. And consequently, maybe that becomes what you love and your purpose. So it's really the other way around, as opposed to do what you love and you'll never work in your day in your life. Work hard at something you're really, really good at, and perhaps that will become what you love, because you'll love the success. You'll love the fact that you have a return on that there is some satisfaction, an ROI, if you will, a return on investment. And so, in that same realm, today, I told you guys many times that I read. Again, sorry, it's the pollen in my throat. I see you guys are out there. Please ask a question, make a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are if you want to participate in this conversation. But you guys know I read from various books in my DSP, my daily spiritual practice. I read from this particular book here. I don't know that this resonates with me so much, but I was given this by one of the members of the administration of the UU church that Lisa and I have attended, the UU fellowship that we've attended in Winston-Salem. And she knew I was 36 years since my last drink. And so she gave me this book, This Day in Recovery, which is just a daily reading. It's some days it's really good. Some days it's kind of just, I don't know. I read it. I see where it goes. And of course I read from one of my all-time favorites here, Science of Mind 365. And then my good friend Larry Wilhelm gave me a couple of years ago, he gave me the Daily Stoic, which is Stoic wisdom from Epictetus and Seneca and Marcus Aurelius and those folks. And in the realm of what I was talking about here just a minute ago, this was today's reading. And this is the quote first from Epictetus. First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be. Then do what you have to do. For in nearly every pursuit, we see this to be the case. Those in athletic pursuit first choose the sport they want and then do that work. That's from Epictetus's discourses from a gazillion years ago. And then the explanation from the gentleman who wrote the book, Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, their thoughts underneath it is, an archer is highly unlikely to hit a target she did not aim for. The same goes for you, whatever your target. You are certain to miss the target if you don't bother to draw back and fire. Our perceptions and principles guide us in the selection of what we want, but ultimately our actions determine whether we get there or not. So yes, spend some time, real, uninterrupted time, thinking about what's important to you, what your priorities are. Then work toward that and forsake all others. It's not enough to wish and hope. One must act and act right. Which is right in the exact same realm that I'm talking about. This is the idea that we find what you're good at. Find something that really brings you a sense of reward and fulfillment. And it doesn't have to be your ultimate purpose. It doesn't have to be the thing you love, not to be repetitious, but if you do it with enough dedication, with enough enthusiasm, it could very well become what you love. And then I was just thinking about my own life, and you've heard about my spiritual circle. My beloved Lisa and I met with our spiritual circle on Tuesday night, and our one fellow David was the facilitator, and his subject for the night was transitions. And it was basically because many of us in the group are going through different things, and I was thinking about the idea that someone mentioned that I was very quiet on Tuesday night. And I'm sure maybe those of you who know me can imagine that very quiet is not necessarily what I'm known for. And when it finally got to be my turn to really talk about transitions, I felt a little bit like my entire life is in transition. Because you all know the story. 2 years ago, my beloved Lisa and I moved 1,700 miles across country from Colorado, from our beloved Colorado to North Carolina. And everything here is a transition. Everything is new. Every restaurant is new. Every hiking trail is new. Every person we meet is new. The communities that we're touching base with or interested in maybe pursuing membership or being a part of, they're all new. And so it feels like everything is in transition. And I really I'm connecting the thoughts around not just the transition piece, but also what am I good at? And everybody seemed to be in agreement in our spiritual circle. What I'm really good at is I'm a social being. What I'm really good at is befriending people and getting to know people. And I went through a couple of stories that I hadn't verbalized these things. But as I verbalized them, I realized this is what I'm good at. And it's actually very fulfilling. And it's actually helping me to make the most of this transitionary period in my life. Again, excuse me, I have the allergies, man. And a couple, there's an old fella at the one grocery store, the closest grocery store that we go to. It's called Food Lion. I joked when I first moved here that Food Lion seemed to me to be little more than a glorified 7-Eleven. But it's actually, you have to look a little bit harder because there's not a lot of emphasis on organic foods and healthy eating in this part of the world. If you look through Food Lion, you can find it. But there's one checker there, older fella, and he always has this sour look on his face. And I just started to take it upon myself to say good morning to him. And then I learned his name was George, and I said, "Good morning, George." And he would kind of smile, and then I would always go to him to check me out so that I could be friendly with him and I could be nice to him. And we wound up with a little smile here and a smile there. And then the checkout counters are right inside the door of this store, and he always seems to look up when someone comes through the door. As I would, I'd be too damn nosy not to see who's coming in. And he's worked there obviously for many, many years because lots of people know him. And one day, a month and a half ago, I walked in the door and I said, "Hiya, George." And he looked at me and said, "Hiya, Ken." And blew me away. He had gone out of his way to find out my name. That is one of my gifts, is my ability to do that. There's another store, which is our bigger store that we go to. It's the Kroger affiliate here in North Carolina. It's called Harris Teeter. And in Harris Teeter, when I first started going there over a year ago, I was looking for a particular item of mine that I was positive I had seen there before, and I couldn't remember what it was. So I asked this young lady who was stocking shelves to help me find this item. And she walked me all over the store looking for this. And we came to the conclusion it's a pretzel bite is what it is. I mean, it's something silly, but she came to the conclusion it was probably over by the deli. And she actually went to the deli with me, went to the head of the deli department to ask him where it was. And while she was gone, I just happened to walk as I followed her towards the deli counter. I didn't go back into the deli where she did, but they were right in front of me. And then it got to, the next time I was looking for something, I happened to see her by accident. I said, "Well, you seem to be the lady that knows where everything is. Where's such and such?" And she took me to that. Next thing you know, a year later, we're good friends. And when we see each other in the store, we share a hug and talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We hadn't seen each other in a while. This past weekend, or just a few days ago, we talked for 25 or 30 minutes. Again, that's part of my gift. My beloved and I were going to Lowe's one Sunday morning, 3 weeks ago. We're on our way to Lowe's. We're going to look for some trees to plant in our backyard too. Basically, we're trying to create a barrier between us and our neighbor's house so we can't see his damn Confederate flag. But anyway, we had just come from breakfast. We had a little coffee. So the first stop was to the restroom. And on the way to the restroom, there's this couple in front of us, and they're walking the cutest dog I've ever seen in my life. And it obviously was a corgi mix, but it was, I'm not a fan of corgis. I think they're kind of ugly actually. But this little guy was white and brown and tan and black. It just really looked cool coloring and longish, the softer looking fur than what you would see on a corgi. And as we walked by these people, I said, "What kind of dog is that?" And it was a corgi mix, but she didn't know the other piece. She actually worked at the shelter, and the dog was set to be euthanized, and she couldn't let that happen. So she owned the dog. His name was Carlos. And I was wearing a shirt that says "Peace" across the front of it. And then in 4 or 5 different languages, 5 or 6 different languages, it says "Peace" in different languages. I don't know what all the languages are. Excuse me. And the husband says, "I love your shirt." Well, next thing you know, we spent the next half an hour, Lisa talking to this woman, her name is Tracy, and me talking to the husband. His name is Mark. Mark and I now meet every Wednesday for coffee. And we're going to go out to dinner with them next week. Again, just that ability to create the community, to create the relationships. It's very, very different for me in this part of the world. I come from the science of mind tradition. I come from the metaphysical tradition of oneness. I come from the idea of talking about spirit as there's no place where spirit is not. Every being, every creature, everything is just simply an individuation of the one, of the overarching creative intelligence of the universe. And this is not that here. This is very, very, very Christian. I'm very liberal, lean progressive. I have maybe a streak of libertarianism in me, but in this part of the world, that's the closest I come to the people with the bit of libertarianism, because it's very, very, very right, very Republican in this part of the world. To be able to create friendship and relationships here is not the easiest thing in the world for me, when some of the most important things in my life are my spirituality and what's going on in the political world. And even though I was brought up in a generation where two things you never talked about in social gatherings was religion and politics, I maintain that has put us in a spot where now we're totally incapable of talking about religion and politics in a civil way. It's always two totally divided camps. As Barry Ebert says, in what we're thinking about, we're bunkered. We're bunkered in high-walled camps, left and right. It seems there ain't nobody talking when everybody screams, and we're hunkered down in high-walled camps. Is that it? Yeah, I think so. That's where we're at. That's where everybody's at. That's where they seem to be, and I'm coming into this space in this transitionary time. I'm coming to this space of learning. I have to be more accepting of the other point of view. I got to stop being judgmental of the other point of view. Whatever the other point of view is, nobody in the world agrees with me 100%, just like nobody agrees with you 100%. We all have our opinions. We all have our perspectives. We all have our ideas about how things are and how they should be and how we'd like them to be. But that doesn't mean that anybody else is going to have that same feeling, that same sense, that same worldview. And so we have gotten more and more and more divided. I heard something today about the first person. I actually heard former Senator from Minnesota, Al Franken, talking in an interview on a little clip this morning, and it was actually very, very recent, because he was actually hip to what's going on in the justice system with the trials of the former disgraced ex-president, and he was saying that the Speaker of the House back in Bill Clinton's day, who was Newt Gingrich, he was the one who started calling the other side liars and traitors, and that kind of spread, and it has maybe the planting of the seeds of the divisiveness that we see now. There was a guy, why can't I remember his name? He was kind of almost a mentor to Karl Rove, who started the idea, or basically was his specialty was the politics of personal destruction, where he would destroy you as a human being. I always found it incredibly ironic. The man died very young of brain cancer, but he was he helped to widen the division between us all. And just going back to not to be political, go back to where I'm at now. Here I am in this part of the world where the overarching mindset, ideology, is not mine. It's not even related to mine. And I am learning at 73 years old. I'm proud of myself that I'm learning something at 73, but I'm still learning that I just have to learn to accept that there are differing perspectives held by very nice people. And in truth, Lisa and I, we've met it's the internet. We've met no assholes here. We've met nothing but very nice, wonderful, loving, kind people. And I've only had a couple of political conversations, real serious political conversations. Only one of them with a neighbor who's very much on the opposite side of the fence. But I made it a point to affirm at the end of our conversation as he was leaving to head back home that it was a great thing that he and I could have this conversation in a civil manner and not have it destroy the little friendship that we have developed over the course of the last whatever it is now. We moved in here in November, December, January, February, March, April. We have now been here. This is our 18th month. Yikes. How did that happen? I want to, that's it. That's pretty much what I got for you today. I did want to read one thing that I've read before here. I find this incredibly uplifting. And I want to read you this before we go here today. Again, from Ernest Holmes, from the Science of Mind textbook. This is on page 293. And my understanding is that in the Science of Mind textbook, they have never changed the pagination, so that it's always, no matter what, whether you get a hardcover, a soft cover, an older edition or newer edition, the paging is all the same. The page numbers are the same. So page 293, and this is about mental equivalence. And I think mental equivalence is one of the most important things we can, it's one of the most important habits we can develop, is to develop our mental equivalence. It's all about creative visualization. It's all about Michael Beckwith's with visioning. That's all about mental equivalence. It is what do you believe, truly believe, even know to your core is your highest good and what you are striving for. Again, what you're good at, not what you love, but what you're good at. What is that? And then start moving in that direction. As Ernest says, treat and move your feet. I know I am now at the threshold of all good, wisdom, and truth. All the good I can embody is now mine. I have only to open the portals of my soul and accept that which is ready to express through me. I expect fully and emphatically the answer to my prayer today. Right now, do I possess everything that I so greatly desire? I remove my fear of lack and negation, for it is the only barrier which stands in the way of my experience of good. I alone can remove it, and I do remove it now. In this moment, my good comes to me enough and to spare, to give and to share. I can never be exhausted. My good can never be depleted, because that source from which my good comes is inexhaustible. Today, in this moment, the law responds to my thought. My word is one of affirmation, rising from the knowledge that the good, the enduring, and the true are eternalities in my experience. I cannot be apart from that which is my good. My good is assured me by God, the indwelling essence of my life. I love that one expression. The good, the enduring, and the true are eternalities in my experience. So that's it for me. As always, I am immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings that the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me next Thursday and every Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. If you want to reach me, I should probably do that before I sign off here. But if you want to reach me, you can go to... you can send me an email at tmrocketnow@gmail.com. Please always remember that the show is brought to you by HempWorks, makers of the finest hemp oil and CBD oil and hemp infused products on the planet, including my favorite CBD infused coffee that you will love. 5 milligrams of CBD in every cup, along with some chocolate mushrooms to make you feel good. You can go to hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig. It will tell you everything you need to know about those products and get you the best pricing if you go to my site. Please, we live and breathe by virtue of your generosity and your donations. We're a nonprofit organization. Go to www.ntmedia.org. That's newthoughtmedia.org. Click on donate, and we will be immensely grateful for anything and everything that you deign to give us. I'm looking for another word, but it's giving to us. It's donating to us. Again, I thank you for your time and your attention, and for being with me this week. And I hope I'll see you next week. Until then, my friends, namaste.